Yeah, hi everyone. So thanks for joining here. So first of all, thank you for CNCF and Kong Community Ambassadors for making this happen. So myself, Nani Babu. So I'm API Management Professional. So currently working at Infosys. So today I want to share what is the importance of API compliance. So with Kong and Spectral. So what if APIs are not compliant with our standards? So what are the consequences organizations will face? So yeah, before diving to our topic, so let's observe the current migration of AI. I mean, every organization's moving, adopting AI. So not because every organization is following, yeah, because the possibilities offered by AI. So here I want to highlight one of the phrase which is used by Kong, which is no AI without API. So yeah, every organization want to use AI, right? So but they are not able to run those LLMs in their local or their own infrastructure, but they will consume those LLM models which is provided by the AI providers. So they are hosting at remote locations. To interact with them or to communicate with those LLM models, so under the hood they have to use APIs which are hosted at remote locations. So here I have listed on few examples. So how APIs are acting as a foundational layer to the AI. So yeah, so first one is we don't download that one. So yeah, we have to use APIs to connect, whether using UI or using SDKs via programmatically interacting. So everything will be under the hood, its APIs. And we have seen the agentic AI as well. So where the agents will do the things. So the APIs enable the agents to make those actions like booking tickets or getting the calendar events. So everything will be enabled by the APIs. And one more example is so data. So let's take an example. So when we deployed an LLM model for the customer experience support, so to provide a better support and have a better experience, so LLM models should have a latest information. So that information again provided by the APIs. So yeah, so in this AI adoption journey and this shift, so under the hood, so APIs are acting as a basic layer. So yeah. So coming to the another context of APIs, so let's see in the enterprise level. So yeah, APIs are not just a technical tools, but so they are mission critical assets. So it takes organizations ahead compared to the others. So if they follow better API strategies. So here I have mentioned few examples. So how APIs are driving the organizations. So yeah, APIs are like a nervous system, so which interconnects all the applications, customers, partners, so that they can innovate and they can take ahead their organizations. And also APIs act as a revenue streams. So most of the organizations monetize their APIs. So from that they will generate the income. And another one is innovation and speed. So yeah, so organizations don't need to reinvent the wheel again, so they can make use of existing integrations so that they can implement new products or services very rapidly and they can deliver to the customers. So that's how these APIs are very important in every organizations. Yeah, so let's see a fictional scenario. So meet Ramesh. So he's working at one of the fintech organization. So they have introduced a revolutionary products in the market. So quickly their product became very popular. So due to that, their organization grow rapidly. So like from 120 members to 300 members, their headcount increase, and also they are very fastly creating microservices. So currently they have 300 plus APIs in the production, but due to the velocity, so they are not able to document, and so out of that one, so 40% are missing proper authentication and rate limiting things, and also there is no automated compliance. So due to that, so first 4 quarters it's went fine, so they are making good revenue, but later slowly they realized, so they found security vulnerabilities in their APIs, and there is no proper governance on their APIs, and they are not able to find how many APIs they have, and they don't have visibility over them. And also to maintain those APIs or microservices, so operation cost also increased. And also there are some regional compliance challenges also faced. So as a result, so they 1 million customers KYC and transactional data got exposed, and they got a fine from RBI, so due to non-compliant APIs, and also their valuable partners walked away, and also their engineers, instead of innovating, so they are now refactoring and fixing those issues. So yeah, so this is the example, so how API compliance or standards and governance are important in organization. So if you not treat as a APIs as just a tool instead of critical assets, so these issues we will face in organization level. So yeah, so we will use a Kong gateway and a Spectral to solve these issues, and we will automate this process. So yeah, Kong is a cloud native API gateway, so which act as a entry point for the all consumer requests. So whenever consumer want to consume an API, so all the requests will go via this Kong gateway. So yeah, Kong provides different plugins, and so which is extensions of Kong gateway. So instead of implementing security, authentication, everything in each microservices, so we can enforce these things at gateway level, so that developers can focus on business logic. So here we can see a few security standards, market standards, which is OAuth and OpenID Connect, JWT, KeyAuth. So all these things we can enforce at our APIs, so that these are secured. So only approved or authorized consumers will able to consume this API. And also it provides for traffic management as well. So where we will have a rate limiting and quota policies, so that every subscriber have only a specific number of requests, so they can make to our API. And also it provides different observability and monitoring providers, so we can connect with them, so that we can see our API traffic as well. So and also we can host a Kong gateway anywhere, whether it's a cloud or on-prem or OpenShift or Kubernetes, so we can host anywhere. So yeah, coming to the Spectral. So Spectral is the open source API linter, so which helps to enforce the standards of organization, so that developers will able to create consistent APIs. So instead of each team using different types of APIs, like different authentication and authorization, so instead of that one, so with the Spectral, so we can enforce, so that quality APIs will be produced at organization level. So yeah, so with the help of Spectral, so we can lint Open API specification or async APIs or JSON schema. So we can use Spectral in 3 ways. So one is installing CLI, or we can using extension in our IDE. So and also we can use NPM package. So I have created a small workflow, so which automate this API compliancy part. So before that, I want to share how the Spectral works. Yeah, so I have created a mock API services, so which is following API design buzz, so that I have created Open API specification for this one. And so for Spectral, we need to create a rule set files, so which is like the guardrails or the rules we want to enforce in our organization. So for that one, so we need to create a spectral.yaml file, so which contains all the rules. So currently I am using default rule sets, which is provided by the Spectral. So we can create a custom rule sets as well. So based on our organization requirements, so we can create those things. So it's loading. Yeah, so here in my Open API specification, so I have created a mock service, so which is a mock service, so which is pointing to the HTTP bin, and it has two routes, which is echo. So and at my organization level, so I need to protect those APIs with key authentication. So for example, I have used key authentication, and I should only allow consumers to make 5 requests per minute, and also so it should support AI shift, so that it provides extra context to the LLM models. So this is organization specific. So for example, I have added this one. So these are the things. So this is the Spectral rule set file. So here we can see the rules. So currently I am extended default Open API specification rule sets, and also I have implemented few basic level of rules. So which expects X hyphen LLM details, and also rate limiting, and also key auth. So if these things missed in the Open API specifications, it will directly throw the errors. Yeah, so for example, here I am commenting this XLLM details header over here. So if I see in my VS Code terminal, so it instantly gives the feedback like you are missing XLLM details. So that so we need to fix this one. So that's so even let's see one more example. So my API don't have any authentication. So again, so let me save. So again, so it's giving feedback which is plugin is missing, so that we can know like what are the standards we are not following, so that we can fix those things before going to the production during design time. So because as soon as possible we fix this one, it less expensive compared to next phases. So that's how we are getting this feedback. So yeah. So for that one, so I have created one GitHub workflow as well. So this is the flow of workflow. So where first it check out Open API specification, and then it installs Spectral. So it will link the specifications. So if there is any errors, so it will block the deployment, or else, so if it is valid and it's following all the standards specific to our organization, then it will convert those specifications to the Kong specifications, and it will deploy into the Kong API management platform. So let me share the example pipeline run. Yeah, so this is the one of the success workflow run. So it has these steps. So which is first it fetch the Open API specification file. So then it will install the Spectral, and then it will link the Open API specification. So with the help of deck, which is a CLI tool provided the Kong, so it do the magic. So where it converts our Open API specifications into the Kong specific configurations. So later it will deploy to the Kong platform. So these are the specifications which is converted by the deck tool. So then it will deploy to the Kong platform. So what if API is not following organization standards? So yeah, so it will give the errors. So like you are missing XLLM details extension in our specification. So it asks us to fix this one, and it will stop the deployment to the API, so that so non-compliant APIs won't go to the production, so that it will save us from many complications. So let me open the Kong gateway. So this is the UI page. So where we have created this services in Kong via this workflow. So it's pointing to http bin.org as a upstream. So it has two routes, which is echo, which has two operations, get and post. So now it is secured with key authentication, and also it has rate limiting. So these things are created via open API specifications. So let me make an API call. So this is the actual our upstream API, so created by developers. So it won't have any authentication or rate limiting before. So it will simply give the response. So this is the Kong specific request. I think it's loading. So yeah, the upstreams don't have any authentication or rate limiting, but with the help of Kong, so we have created this authentication and rate limiting, so that we don't need to implement this logic in each API services. Instead, the Kong will do this functionalities in our APIs. Yeah, okay. So yeah, when we make this API call to this one, so it will provide a response and it will ask us provide key. So because it is protected with key authentication. So that's how we can secure our APIs. So and make it compliant with using Spectral, so that our organizations will confidently expose the APIs to the external world or partners. So which help us to grow our business. So yeah, this is. Thank you. Any questions?